things new.
New, 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 everything new, 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 everything new. New, 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 everything new, 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 everything new. I'm ready to go, ready for more. I'm ready for new, like it's straight out the stove. You already know. I'm ready to flow. I'm ready to move. The whole is through. I'm in Papa's new bag and it's still at the back. So you know all things new.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to All Things New. We are so excited that you're here. Listen, this is our second episode of this season, and we're just getting started. I'm really, really excited. So, ladies, let's introduce ourselves.
I'm Dana.
I'm Teresa. I'm Joy Laurie.
I'm Matanaya.
And I'm Dr. Matisa, and we are so glad that you have tuned in with us. Let me tell you something. You are in for a great, great, great show. But before we get started, ladies, I just want to kind of do a check-in.
Okay.
Right? We're nearing the end of the year. I just want to ask you all, can you give me a high and low for 2022?
You know, someone asked a question earlier. They said, how did you start your year and how do you want to end it? I started my year frustrated, but in the words of my pastor, it's going to end with me being fulfilled.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I like that. Wait a minute. Any ideas, like anything you're looking specifically for?
You know what it is? I think I'm just looking for that sense of peace and contentment. I think instead of, I've been noticing that I have been caring more about experiences than stuff. Don't get me wrong, I still love stuff. I love shoes, clothes, perfume, all that stuff. But I think I've been more focusing on experiences. So good time with friends, dinner, travel, just enjoying the little things.
Wait a minute. Wait. I love Dana. If anybody follows her on social media, and if you're not, you should. You just recently took yourself, I didn't see anybody else with you, took yourself to a resort. Beautiful.
I went to Chateau Elan. I love that place.
Can you tell us about that?
It was amazing. Now, it was expensive, but I needed that. And I just loved just being out with the architecture and just like roaming the grounds and just taking a day and just woosah. Like I didn't answer my phone. I didn't check social media.
That's good.
I had spa-esque moments and just time to reflect.
No, that was beautiful. When I saw that, I was like, I wish that were me. That was good. That you did it for yourself. You just relaxed.
I definitely did it for myself. Yeah.
Awesome. Who else? High and low of 2022.
My high for this year is I got accepted to go back to school.
Yes.
This has been such a journey that on and off, like, am I going to be able to pursue it? Am I not? Am I going to? Thinking I have to choose, and then actually moving on it and seeing, okay, if it's God's will, it'll happen. And he confirmed that thing and gave me some money for it.
That's good.
So it was good to know that God is like, go ahead, you can pursue it, your dreams. So that was my high for this year. A low, I have like little spurts of disappointments. Like you have just disappointments. Like you expect something and it doesn't happen that way. And so you'll be a little down about that. So I've had little moments like that, but the highs definitely outweigh those small moments of disappointment.
That's good. Now, what are you going to major in?
I'm going to major either in psychology or social work. I'm still in between that, but therapist is the journey I'm on. Marriage and family
I think
therapy.
you'll do well.
Absolutely.
That's so
And
cool.
we need it.
And we need it. So
Definitely.
my, I'll go with low first because I don't like ending with lows. So my low was a very, very, very close friend of mine was diagnosed with breast cancer this year. Yeah, so that took the breath out of all of us. But she's, in the process of the chemo, radiation. She did get surgery, so I believe that God is healing her. But it was a lot. It was a lot for us.
Yeah.
My high, I have two highs. So my first high was in March. I drove all the way to Vermont by myself.
Wow.
Yeah, from Atlanta.
It was so long ago,
Forever.
doesn't it?
I know.
I can't believe it.
How
It
long
took
was the
forever.
trip?
It was I broke it down in two. I drove to Virginia to see my best friend and my nieces and nephew and her husband, and then I drove to Vermont. So all together was like 17 hours.
Wow.
It was beautiful. Like I went through different states that I've never been in, and just seeing. It was a very, very, very amazing experience. And my other high is this year I took my parents on my birthday trip.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
We went to Lord Jesus, where did I go? Somewhere in Florida. Yeah, it was a resort
You
in Florida.
turn 40
that I
and you start
cannot
forgetting stuff.
remember. I honestly. Oh, I don't remember.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Was it fun?
nice.
Was
And
it
it was
fun?
your
Oh my God! Where did I go?
It's okay.
I don't remember, but I went. I told myself, I was like, you know what? I want to spend this birthday with the people that I spent my very first birthday with.
So special.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But
So
you
it
know
was
what I
great.
love about that is your birthday trip every year is special. Like you always go
I
somewhere.
tried to.
Yeah, but then to say you wanted to take your parents with you,
Right.
that's really good.
It was. I can't believe I can't remember where I went.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It'll come to her before the end of the show, and she'll scream it out.
Right.
I remember.
So what about you, Teresa?
My high for the year was actually traveling. I renewed my passport, and I hadn't done it. It expired during the pandemic, and so I was like, oh, nobody can travel, so I didn't pursue having it renewed. But for my birthday trip with my sister, we went to Ireland, and her son is playing basketball over there, Joshua Reynolds. He's amazing. And after that, we just, on the spur of the moment, decided to go to London. We were like, let's take a flight from here to London. Went to London, has amazing food, did great shopping, and enjoyed being with her. So it was my sister and my brother Lawrence, and we really enjoyed that time. And it was my first international trip since before the pandemic, and it was really great. Yeah. And I don't know that I had a low. Just like you have spurts of disappointments, there were things. I guess I did have a low, and it was a season really like of depression where I had to pull myself up out of it, like because we take care of so many people.
Absolutely.
And we're always encouraging everybody, and then when I realized that I'm fighting to pull myself up to a happy place, I was like, wow, I think I'm in a state of depression. And so that was a low, but I pulled through, and you never really think. I try not to self-diagnose, but I was like, it was all the signs. And I was like, wow, this is a season, but I felt myself coming out of it, and I just pushed through until I got there.
I really love that transparency because we don't talk about those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I'll start with my low. Many of you all know, if you don't know, my brother passed away at the beginning of the year. And so the low is, of course, that he's no longer here, but just kind of dealing with the residuals of that. And I love the opportunity just for us to be able to talk about that. And I'm sure some folks can share this as we're going into the holidays. Yeah. It's a real challenge. And so that was my low. I think my high is, I kind of woke up one day and I thought, you know what, God, I am really living what I want to do.
Yeah, you are.
Sometimes you think it's a particular thing, but when I think about how God allows me to do ministry and marketplace and do all and have a flexible schedule to do it all, I was like, God, I'm living my dream right now. So that's a high for me.
I love it.
Marco Island Beach.
That's for you.
Marco Island Beach.
We knew it was coming.
Thank you.
We knew it was coming.
It was.
I love that. Thanks, guys, for sharing. I love hearing about you all's lives and where you are and the good, the bad, because we come through. Side note, a game? Anyone?
Sure.
Oh my
Of course.
goodness.
Of
Always a
course.
game with this one.
A game?
Why did we-
Okay, so we're about to play Most Likely To. It's one of my favorite games.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a few fun questions, and so the way the game works, that if you are the person who is the most likely to, will yell out their name once the question is asked. Okay?
Wait,
I'm
we're
ready.
saying ourselves?
No,
Or we're talking
the
about each
person.
other?
So
What
within the
question is,
group.
who's most likely
So
to?
we're asking a
Oh,
question: who's
gotcha.
most likely to do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
And we say the person in the group.
Okay.
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 Does it make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Let's go.
Who's most likely to marry for money?
Joya.
Dana.
Dana.
Dana for
Dana.
sure.
I would say Dana.
Dana Nicole
I
Tyler.
think Dana.
Dana, middle name.
I
Okay.
confess.
Who's most likely to marry a preacher?
Matanaya.
Yeah.
Matanaya.
Yeah, Matanaya.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She's not
Yeah.
opposed.
Yeah.
I know.
Preachers.
Yeah.
Look, okay.
Most likely to end up in prison?
Joya.
Joya.
Teresa.
Joya for sure.
Joya,
is going
Teresa.
down.
No,
I'll say
Joya has road rage.
I'm not a killer, but don't push.
You confessed earlier of thinking about homicide.
Listen,
She sure did.
Joya's made her way of escape.
Out of
She
custody
already
orange
knows.
only.
In case of emergency.
It's the Holy Ghost that kept you.
Thank God
Right.
for the Holy Ghost.
Most likely to go bald.
Did you say
Or cut your hair.
bald?
Bald.
Or cut your
Or
hair.
cut your hair really
I
low.
think Dana would
Cut your hair really low.
Yeah,
I
oh,
seriously
Dana.
been
Dana
thinking
just
about
said
it.
it. Just said it.
Really?
She literally just said that earlier.
I would. It looks very freeing. I'm just saying.
I would
It really
just
does.
do like lashes and.
There it is.
Wow.
When you little like
Thinking
that,
about
you can
it.
do
I've
it.
actually been thinking about it.
Like bald or like fade?
Not bald, but
Just
yeah,
really
like-
Cutting it
short.
all off. Cutting all those
Fade?
locks
Would you
off.
like
Maintenance free, but probably blonde.
blonde?
You know,
Okay, I was gonna ask.
Wow. That
I
would
can
be
see
fire.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Cute. Okay, most likely to buy something dumb and expensive.
Teresa.
I don't know that it's necessarily dumb. It might not be a necessity, but I would definitely buy something expensive.
Okay. Most likely to run around the church during a praise break, during a high time. Most
Matista?
likely to
None of
run.
us.
I don't know.
I'm not running.
Dr. Batista, you have
Matista,
ran.
I have run.
Your
I've
dance
run
is
before
almost
too,
never
but-
run. Yeah, I'll
that's
run.
true.
You know what?
That's
Even after people do a couple laps, I'm like, I want to. Oh,
We ran
I'll do a good
together.
walk.
We ran
I'll do a
together.
good walk.
Right.
Yeah, we ran together before.
I agree. It never is like my first.
it's
thing
not
to
my
think
first
about.
inclination.
Let me just
No.
run around this
I'm
church.
too clumsy, and I'm like, what if this is not God? And I'm too clumsy.
Well,
I'm
then
okay.
don't run. It's not God, because you will fall.
Now I'll
No.
run around the church when ain't nobody
No.
here.
When
we just
running-
doing
Yeah,
stuff.
right.
When it
Yes,
comes to
yes.
running, you do have a lot of thoughts before you take off. Like,
Really?
am I going in the right direction?
No, you
Will
know
I
what? I've
trip?
never thought
Am I
about
supposed
it.
to close my eyes or keep it open?
Right.
Look,
Do I
Definitely
speak in
open
tongues
your
while I
eyes.
run?
do I speak in tongues or do I just close my mouth?
You don't need to run, because it's not that serious to
For
think
me,
about.
it's like when you end, like if you do run and you're like wrapping
Where do you
it
end up?
You be
Where do you
winded.
go?
No, when you get out of breath,
Does it look
you just
weird?
slow down and you just do a
Does
little
it
two-step.
look weird if I stop at the back instead of the front where I started?
Let me tell you something. If I do
Complete the
something
full
where
lap.
I'm winded, I'm going to look down and breathe in my nose.
Right, and out.
Because I'm not going to have you look at me like, I'm like,
Couldn't make it.
That's why I don't like people shouting with me at church. Like, no,
Do
stop.
not shout with
I got my own
me.
pace. I can't do that.
But do you guys know that I literally told the Lord I really wanted to work out so I can build up my cardiovascular, so I can shout longer and that I can run.
love
So
it.
I remember when Bishop would say, "Oh, I feel like running," or like if my pastor takes off, it's a wrap. I'm going. It's not. I don't even think about it. I don't wonder like all the questions you go through. It's if I see my pastor running, I'm running. But it's not in me to run. But I'll walk. I'll walk hard now.
but you know you're winded at the
Well,
end.
At the end, you can't breathe.
You're winded. Like,
And then people be stopping and shouting, like, it's adding more to
No,
the,
you
to the
but
cardio.
You have to work out. You gotta work out. You gotta work
Your
out.
heart is healthy, I tell you.
Okay, last one. Most likely to make up a fake story.
Teresa Thomas.
First of all,
To get the joke.
Teresa Falula
Okay, so I don't
Thomas.
tell stories. I don't tell stories,
You exaggerate.
but I will engage an audience with a
Fiction.
Teresa's amazing storyteller.
right parameters around a
Pun
certain
intended.
situation.
Look, pun intended.
But I don't tell stories. Like I'm not a liar, but I can convince you of something.
That is hilarious.
That was
and
so
funny. I want to go back to that shouting, running around. The reason why I want to go back to that, guys, seriously, it's like almost the end of the year. And you know how we get those thoughts in our mind, like, oh my God, I'm 20 pounds heavier. Or I'm, sometimes I'm 10 pounds lighter than what I wanted to be. Okay, so you guys don't know. We started, I don't even know when we started. This is how bad I wasn't committed to it. I gotta confess. We started a 75-day challenge. That's ladies. Ladies of all things new.
yes.
I think I stopped on day 3.
See, what happened was...
No way.
Did you stop?
They
on
started
I
a
stopped on day
75-day
guys,
challenge. I was just watching them in the group chat. No.
Right. Never responded.
Like, tell the truth, shame the devil. Dr. Matissa and Teresa were like really the only two that was really engaged.
Now I started my day. I I was like, Dr. Matisse would be on day 7, I'd be on day 4. Then Dr. Matisse would be on day 10, I was on day 7. It was just like I was a little bit behind, but I never stopped, like, because I'm determined. Like, I'm still in the middle of my 75 days challenge. So.
Absolutely. But I will say this. We were talking about, I don't know what motivates you all. And this came up in our conversation. And I think it's a good thing to think about. What motivates me is motivating other people.
Aww, that's cool.
When I was like motivating you all, I was really motivating myself until my girlfriends were like, basically, I don't need your motivation. I ain't doing it anyway.
I need your motivation. I need it.
I say that.
That's what you all said verbatim. You said that verbatim in the text.
I didn't say that. Dana said it.
I was
No,
cracking
what
up.
I was trying to convey is that that it just wasn't working for me. Like I just felt like the biggest loser because I was like, I'm 572 pages behind in my reading. I haven't done any of my water. I've drank 3 glasses of water today. I was like, I'm just never going to catch up. And just those types of things, like competition works for some people, especially people who are extremely competitive.
Yes.
However, for me, it's just it just wasn't working for me. And because I had kind of already started on something, it wasn't the thing that was going to push me to do better.
Right.
It was only going to serve to discourage me. So it wasn't that I didn't find you all motivational and like cheering for you, rah, rah, yay. But I was just like, this not working for me.
Can we tell our audience what the 75-day challenge was? Like, what did it consist of?
Sure.
So we did 1 gallon of water.
Every day.
Every day, 1 gallon of water. 10 pages of a book.
A nonfiction.
Nonfiction.
Right.
1 chapter of the Bible.
Yeah.
Praying
day.
in the Spirit.
Praying in the
Every
Spirit.
day.
Every day.
2 workouts. 1 indoor, 1 outdoor.
Yeah.
You have to take a picture of yourself.
Yeah.
Every day.
And actually, that's the one thing that I didn't think that I would like necessarily because
Yeah.
you don't
when you
see
see
the
a difference-
results, but you start to see it. You
Yeah.
really, really do. So that was helpful for me. And I do want to say this. I was lightweight joking when Dana said that. But I do think when you gave your response, it made me think about it differently.
Yeah.
And the fact that everybody is motivated differently. So I understood it. I understood what you were saying. Yeah.
I love it because I'm working on myself. So
Absolutely.
it's just like the little things. And I was really motivated by my reading. I started reading again. I have the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I had read it, like marked it all the way through. And probably read that, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. And right now, it is applying so much. Like, I understand choices I've made in my life, decisions that I've made, like even periods of time that I've gone through because of a choice that I made. And so now it's like, this is really helping me. And it's helping me be disciplined to do all of the things. Now, I rarely got to my water. The water, I couldn't get to a gallon of water a day. But it was the bigger overall motivation, I have to say, is that there's a conference at the end of the year, and I was like, I'm not going to be the fattest girlfriend. So I'm like, if I have to starve myself those last 30 days, it was motivation because I'm tired of seeing myself the way that I am. And I know this session is like about body shaming or just our self-image, body image, but I don't like the way that I look.
Yeah, that's real.
And so it was just like, this is going to help me. And even the starting and stopping, I couldn't just give up. I wasn't going to stop. Like, I'm still motivated. And I'm behind.
Well,
on
and
a lot
I
of
think,
things.
too, that was one of the points I made is that, nothing really changes until you're tired of where you are.
Absolutely.
I'm not quite tired of being illiterate, so I'm not
She's so crazy.
going to read any books.
But you know what?
when I get
Sometimes I'm
tired,
like,
then I'm going to start reading some more books.
Right. I saw that. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go.
Well, I was reading one thing, and that's what motivated me. It said, stop lying to yourself.
Sure.
If you say, you know what, I'm going to work out 3 days a week, and then you just stop, you continue to lie to yourself, and you're giving yourself a pattern. So it won't just be from working out, it's from saving money or being intentional about relationships and different things like that. And so I was like, oh my God, because I remember saying I was going to do this, I was going to do this, I was going to do this. And when I really thought, I was like, I can't keep doing this to myself. I keep lying to myself.
Yeah.
And so that's what got me in that gym.
I think for me, and I put this in our chat, I read where someone changed their language, and that's been helpful for me. So instead of saying, I'm fat or I'm not
Yes.
doing it or whatever, that I'm really like, I'm getting stronger
Yes.
and
Right.
I'm not 100% where I want to be, but I'm doing better. I didn't work out twice because at first I was really like, I'm a challenge person.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
like, I got to do this. And
Right.
and then I was like, I don't have enough time to do it, to be honest. But if I did one 45-minute workout, I would celebrate that.
Right.
Because
You
it's
know.
better than not having
Right, because
worked
before
out.
the challenge, we
and
weren't doing
just
any.
getting
I wasn't.
active and all of that is what's important.
I think it comes to being about 1% better every day.
Yeah.
Like just making those small changes
Yeah.
consistently.
Consistently.
Yeah, and I think that it makes a big difference in the end.
I agree. 100%.
How do you find yourself being or accepting? Because I think for me too is I had to accept, not like accept and just stay there, but just accept, like you said, where I am. Like, okay, truth be told, I gained 20 pounds since last year. And I didn't know it until I tried to put on these pants one day.
Sure.
And I was like, oh my God. And so I wanted to beat myself up like, oh, this is horrible. You look bad, da da da. But I changed my language. And then I started like, Jay, you're not this size, but
Is that
you
what
can
you
get
call
there.
yourself?
I call myself Jay.
Jay, I like it.
Yeah. I'm like, you're not this size, but you can get there. Because I've done it before. I've lost weight before. And so that was how I was able to accept myself, just telling myself, like, hey, you've done it before, so you're going to get there again. Like, how do you guys motivate yourself so you don't do the body image shame, or so you don't, think about yourself and beat yourself up? Like, what is it that you tell yourself, or what is it that you think? What is it that you read? What is it that is it prayer? Like, what is it?
Can I? Honestly, I think it's something that I'm probably going to struggle with for a lot, because I feel like I've been on a body image shaming thing since I hit puberty, and it comes from everywhere. It comes from, your uncle who doesn't really mean anything by it, but it's like, says something slick, or your mom who may say, well, you're getting a little too much, or, just looking at magazines, or just, all those things. And so progressively, it just kind of builds into, well, gosh, am I enough? Am I the right? Am I this? Am I that? And so I've always struggled up and down with my weight. So I'm
Danny, you look amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
do.
absolutely.
You look amazing.
Thank you. But one of the things that I've been trying to do for this last time, which is why I think the challenge kind of didn't work necessarily for me, is because I want something that's going to be slow and steady and consistent. Like, consistency is one of the things that I'm trying to strive for in every area of my life. Consistent with, like you said, saving money, being better, just consistently improving that 1% every day. So, yeah.
I think for me, if I had to say, as far as body image, I've never had an idea of how I wanted to look, I guess, outside of, social media, slim waist, you want thick thighs, and right? I think for me, though, I had to reprogram my mind about how I viewed myself. And, like, I'm super, like, I'm deep for no reason. Like, I used to think, like, no, at first I used to be obsessive about getting a flat stomach, like abs. When you want abs, you have to work really, really hard. And most people are suffering, you know what I'm saying, to get the, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of just was like, hey, take care of you. You know what I'm saying? And I had to let go of that being the, like, why are you so obsessed with that? Like, yes, it looks good, but is that the healthy you? And so then I started reprogramming my mind, be healthy. Be healthy. And wondering, okay, if I see some results, good. If I don't, I'm healthy, And so that's what happened for me, just taking my body for what it is, and not being overboard. Because I used to eat, like, pies. During the pandemic, I had apple pies from Publix and French vanilla ice cream. Every single night from work, I would warm my apple pie up, eat my ice cream.
Sounds delicious.
So content, like watching Married at First Sight. Content, doing my puzzle, and that's what made me happy. And I think that that's okay if that's where you are, like just being happy, but also being like, okay, now eat your vegetables too. Put some fruit in there. Make sure you add your
Take
water.
care of your body.
Taking care. I think that has helped me be okay with how I look, because I know I'm not just throwing at myself. You know what I'm saying?
I would just say the same for me. What I've decided to do is exercise helps me mentally.
That's good.
So
Absolutely.
instead of me beating myself up like, oh, I didn't go exercise, it's like, oh, I need to get out in the sun to just refresh myself. And same thing with food, like, you know, what I do, I don't like pie, but I do like bread and stuff. So I'm not killing myself to take it out, but just saying, okay, I need to just slow down a little bit and just, so I'm thinking about it in a different way, I think, and it's helping. Yeah.
This is an amazing conversation, guys, but we have some sponsors and people that want to love on us, so we'll be right back after these messages.
Here at the M3 Center, our mission is simple: to create a space for leaders to pivot and reset for growth in a virtual or in-person landscape. We are the home for all things media, ministry, and the marketplace. The M3 Center provides state-of-the-art services for creatives, entrepreneurs, and corporate organizations to advance the kingdom and the culture. We offer all the amenities, including on-site personnel with production, multi-purpose spaces, and quality visual and audio equipment for our clients to receive professional content and products. We are an epicenter of ingenuity, professionalism, and customer service. The M3 Center delivers that top-tier experience our clients desire. We would love to be home to your next new project. Check us out at explorem3.com. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back, family. We've been having an amazing discussion. Now, listen, Jonathan Reynolds wrote this song called Comparison Kills, right? And I started thinking about that in context to what we're talking about as far as body image and all that kind of stuff. Because one of the reasons I think I struggled with my weight, or continue to struggle, is because I remember going to the doctor and they told me that somebody my height should be at this weight. And I was like, if I were Asian,
Right.
that would be okay. Because I ain't been that since I was 8 years old. So how does comparison work for you? Does it actually help you? Does it say, this is the measure that I want to get to, and then you work toward it? Or does comparison make you feel like you're less than?
I never compare myself to anyone but myself.
I like it.
Yeah, so like that again. That's my motivation to get back to. I'm like, Jay, like just 2 years ago, you loved everything about yourself. So like, I compare myself to myself, and that's what motivates me to get up, drink the water, do those different things. Yeah,
I like it.
It's definitely a negative for me. It's a negative. And I think, you know, it doesn't matter how accomplished or all of the other external things, there is a constant internal battle between me now and my 8-year-old self. You know, when I didn't know who I was. And so, you know, it just doesn't matter. I could be doing so well and see someone else and that comparison come up, and I go back to my 8-year-old self. Now, I don't live in that, and I have to make a choice every day.
Your
Thank
8-year-old
you.
self was
Joya, you're doing
beautiful. Did you guys see that picture of 8-year-old
Thank
Matisa?
you.
She's adorable.
I need to look in the mirror and talk to my 8-year-old self. That's
That's
a really good
funny.
exercise, by the way. Yeah, it is. But I just want to be transparent, because sometimes people look at you where you are and they think, oh, she never has to. I constantly think about that. And I have to talk to myself to say, there are going to be people who are prettier and slimmer and can do better, but that doesn't mean that you're not enough and worthy and walking in your assignment. So I just try to choose not to even get into that game.
I love that.
Wow, for me, it's I compare myself, like Joya said, to myself, but it's from me after having been the perfect size that I thought was perfect for me. And so I'm trying to get back there. And it's as an adult, like a 4-year-old grown woman. And it's not like from being a kid. It's like something I know that's achievable. But moreover, just I know I can achieve that. It's like Teresa. get it together. Like, you can do this. So I compare myself, and some people use pictures for motivation. So I have the person that I would like to be again on my mirror, and it's like, this is the Teresa I want to get back to. And I didn't even think about it. And it was so odd to me is when I was younger, my girlfriends, we thought we were so fat. Like, I wore an 8, and I was like, I can't believe I'm in an 8. And I want all my girlfriends wore a 6. And I was like, if I can get back to an 8, and I didn't know that I was even gaining weight or fat until I saw myself on a picture. And I was like, well, nobody gonna tell me that I'm not
Nobody
this size anymore.
tells you when you're fat.
That's how it happens, though. You look at yourself and say, is that me?
Right. It's like you never even knew that all that was transforming and happening. Right. So now it's like, I just want to get back to Teresa that didn't even worry about it. Like, I remember being at an age where I just went in and any 8 on the rack could fit, or I either go up or down. It was just, and that's where I want to be again.
Yeah, I remember Maddie made me depressed. I'm joking, but she was just like,
No,
Julia,
she made me
that's
depressed
you?
too.
She looked at a picture of me and she was like, oh my God, that was you? I thought this was Shaquavia. Shaquavia is someone that we all know. And I was like, I really gained weight. Thank you, Maddie. I think about it all the time.
I'm so sorry, Julia.
It's okay.
I thought you were going to talk about how she's so sad because all she keeps doing is losing weight without trying.
I forgot about that.
During our
But that
75-day
makes
challenge,
no, but that's
right?
fair. Like, I don't look at that like it's a throw in the face. Like, that
No.
could be, overwhelming.
Yeah,
and
that's a struggle for
it's
some
a struggle
people.
for some people. I know people that want to gain weight and they can.
Right.
So, yeah.
You don't want to gain weight though, right?
I have a healthy weight, like, in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, 140 is, because I got a little bit chubby cheeks. I
You
look
like
a
the
little bit more
fluffiness.
full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
So-
think skinny is attractive,
But you know what?
Yeah.
At certain ages, because I remember I was a certain weight in 2011, and then I was a certain weight in 2020, and I looked like a totally different person.
Ah. I mean, I guess height makes a difference.
I was the
But I
same
think-
height.
But I'm
But
saying,
even
so
as a
you're saying
kid-
skinny is attractive? Like, you?
Like, even as a kid, I would get made fun of being so skinny.
Yeah.
Like, I remember walking down the street and a random person was like, "You like a red and black stick." And I'll never forget it.
That's
I had a
horrible.
red and black.
Oh, that's not good.
And so that kind of stuck with me. And so I had a T-shirt that said, "Eat more collard greens and cornbread." And I would really eat, like, just have a diet strictly for fatty, like collard greens, cornbread, and I would do squats. But I guess because you do be so caught up in how people view you. Like,
Absolutely.
what do people think about me when they see me? Like, do they be like, "Dang, she fine," or "She can do a little this," or "She can do a that"? And I think it just be a lot. So I don't really care at this point. I want to be happy. If I want to eat the pie, eat the pie. If you want the salad, eat the salad. I'm not really trying to get to a certain thing, but I just want to be happy. That's it.
I want you to be happy, but healthy.
Yeah.
So, don't eat too much pie. We don't want high blood sugars. We don't want high blood pressure. So do that in modification.
But some
We
people
don't
be
want-
restrictive
Sure,
and be like,
sure.
"Oh no, I can't touch that. I can't."
No, you can eat pie.
No.
Yeah.
But that's what I was going to say. That's why I love this conversation, because if you try to please people, you're never going to do that. Too skinny, you're too big, you're too curvy, you're too whatever. And so I just love the idea of working to be your best self. Try to
And
be
you know
healthy.
what? And the older we get, and maybe, Maddie, you just keep living, but, like, sometimes the lighter you are, the better your knees are. Like you get up in the morning, it's just like you don't have the same movement. But I remember a doctor saying you take so many pounds of weight off your knees just by losing a pound or, like, weighing less. It's just less impact on your body. And it's like, wow, I want to be healthy. I want to have, a lot of energy. And so you can't really do that when you're bogged down and when you're heavy. So that part of that motivation for me is I don't want to look a certain way and I don't want to feel a certain way. So that's my motivation against myself, just to be better.
I remember you said one time that you want to be able to shout for a long time.
Really, seriously,
No,
I
like, that's your
wanted, and I
measure.
was like, Lord,
That's
okay,
your measure.
let me. I would go to the gym and get on a treadmill and just run for a whole shouting song on my headset. Can I run this long? But I really wanted to be, because I got to a point where I would shout and I'd be like, "Whoo, thank you, dear. Oh, thank you, dear." Had to put my, like, and I was winded. And I was like, Lord, I want to be able to shout. Now you see, like, people shout all the time. They just dance. And I really wanted to be able to dance for a long time. So it was my cardiovascular. I was like, I weigh too much. I need to
Random
lose weight.
question. Random question. How do we feel about plastic surgery? Like some people after having kids or after, you
What'd
know,
say,
or
Joya?
Give it to us. All of it.
I want
have
a
friends
mommy's
that
people
makeover.
feel
I want a
that-
mommy's makeover before I become a
some
mommy.
people feel indifferent, especially
can't have
Christians.
it before you
they
become a
feel
mommy.
like you got to do it the right, quote unquote, the
Sure.
right way, or be happy with what you are, especially in the Christian world. So how do we feel individually about making alterations under the knife to look a certain way?
I don't like it. It is what it is, because let me tell you, I know people who have had like injections, or they alter their face, or they change their nose or whatever, and you look artificial. It's like you off in a your face doesn't change, your features don't move, and that's unattractive.
But this
Like,
is
that's
the thing.
Odd.
Though, the body
I
part.
But
agree
even the
with that.
body, like I would be, there are so many complications anytime you have a major surgery or you go under anesthesia or they put you to sleep for whatever. But God naturally made us one way, and I wouldn't get injections to have a bigger behind. I wouldn't get have them cut fat off my stomach. Like I've seen procedures, like I've watched on like the medical
scary
channels.
channels.
Yeah, you watch those surgeries and like they take a laser and cut fat off your body. I'm like, they're
But what about
searing
Botox,
fat.
though? What about Botox?
Injection of Botox?
Would you do that?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
I remember when Joyce Meyer, I don't know if y'all remember this.
Yeah.
Joyce Meyer had a facelift.
Yeah. I remember.
And she did look different, and it was
Yeah.
a big deal at the time.
She look better?
She looked younger.
I think
I feel like
initially she did. I think
Yeah.
now she looks a little, and it's not a judgment on her, but it was an interesting conversation in the Christian world because she was one of the first people that kind of came out and said,
Right.
now we know other people did it, but she
Right.
talked about it.
Right.
I don't know. I do think cutting your body up when you put it that way, like I kind of wouldn't want to do that, but I don't know about Botox.
I would
I mean,
say
I don't
this.
know.
C-section, you have to cut your body to get the baby out.
Right.
That's
Right.
not cosmetic
I would
surgery.
say
That's
that.
for bringing
Well,
another life
Same
into the
thing.
world.
Like when you think about breast reconstructive surgery after somebody's who had bad backs, but also
I was thinking
cancer
cancer.
or
Yeah.
all those things. Are we going to tell them that they should just suck it up and just have a good self-image? You know what I mean? And then you have to also think about the reasons that people are doing it.
Right.
If they're doing it because they have such a low self-esteem or have taken it to the extreme, I think of Michael Jackson, who was a cute,
Chocolate
little
black
boy,
grew up to be
beautiful,
a amazing
man,
white
but
woman.
was never really satisfied with how he looked. Then you think about people who just, had a couple kids and would just like to,
Cinch it
erase
up.
some things.
Tongue
So,
tuck, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think this has been a great show and great conversation. And you've left me with a lot to think about. I think this was food for thought. But just with final thoughts, with the whole self-image, comparison kills, where are you, or what advice would you all have based on your own experience for people who ask yourselves that question about, who am I? Am I satisfied with where I am and what I am? What would your thoughts be for them?
I would say to acknowledge where you are, like really do the work.
Yeah.
I think we've had this conversation a couple of times. The reality is we deal with a lot of things in our lives, and we can point back to our childhood or maybe an experience or two. And I do think we have to look at our behavior and try to get to the root of it. Why do I have the thoughts that I have? Why do I do what I do? And I think if we do the work, that's going to help us be healthier, whether it's eating or the way we see ourselves or our relationships with other people. So I think, especially as women, society is always telling us what we should do and should be.
Absolutely.
I think we need to really do the work within to get to the heart.
I like that. I agree. Any other thoughts?
I would like to say this. One of the things that I've been asking the Lord is to help me find my identity in Him and not in other people. Because everybody's going to have their view of who you are, but I want to know what the originator wants for me.
That's good.
So that's my advice. Find out who God says you are and be that.
That's really good.
I like it. I think Mine would be accept it, find out who God says you are, but make sure that you are on a health path, like a healthy path. We are, especially as women, we have different hormones and we get older and different things like that. But you want to make sure that you're taking care of your body. This is the only body that we get. This is the only body that we get. So it's very important. Make sure, like, even if you love, I know people that are 300 pounds, I'm not even making it up, that love themselves. They're okay with being that heavy, but it's not healthy on their heart. It's not healthy on their bones. So love yourself, but make sure you really love yourself by taking care of yourself. Work out, drink that water. It's important to do that. And even if you're young, it's going to be important when you get older. So that's my final thought.
I would say stewardship is about more than managing resources and money. I think that stewardship over us, our bodies, God is trusting us to take care of our temple. This is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and I think we should be just a little bit more cognizant of how we're going about it, how we're taking care of it, what we're doing to it, even the things that we take off or add to. Just being mindful. This is precious. You know what I'm saying? Let me be a good steward over my body and take care. Take time to take care.
Those are all beautiful thoughts. And just to even compliment and add to that is know who you are. Be satisfied with your center self. And accept yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Accept yourself for who you are and where you are. And I think that those questions will be answered, and it will be a beautiful thing to watch yourself evolve to become the person you're supposed to be. So if you stick around at any time or you watch our episodes, we close in prayer. One thing, they took prayer out of schools, but they can't take prayer off all things new. So we're going to always close with a prayer. So if you're at home, if you have any insecurities or any questions you have about your self-image, we want to pray for you and pray with you. So if you would, pray with me. Kind Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you for another opportunity just to come before you one more time to lift up your name in prayer. We thank you because we know that you've made us in your image, and all things that you've created are wonderful and beautiful. And we thank you now because we know who we are, but moreover, we know whose we are. And we thank you for it now. We ask you that if there's anyone that is watching